Hi, welcome everybody.
So today's topic, just a few days before Christmas, is Mary and Jesus. Yeah, one of the most beautiful divine relationships that we've ever had.
Humanity
Yeah,
has ever
everybody.
known.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Um, shall we start with the reading, or did you want to say anything
Now
else?
start with the reading.
Yeah. So again, this is from the Real Life and Teachings of Jesus Christ and the Christmas talk that Swami gave in Penaconda in 1999. And like always, this will be posted,
In our space.
in our space to Devi Loka. My dear divine souls, Jesus' mother was an incredibly powerful lady in the universe. Mary had unbelievable power, even more than Jesus. She was a powerful healer and was very, very capable. She meditated for millions of lifetimes on the creation. If you saw the huge circle of her soul in meditation, nobody has any idea, not even Jesus. He was very thankful to his mother. When he started healing someone, first he prayed to his mother. His first teacher was his mother. Without her blessings, we would not be able to receive this information. She's making you learn about Jesus's real life and the mechanisms how to become powerful. Mary had the highest ability to talk to the angels. Every night she sat in meditation and pulled the angels in front of her and discussed many things. She talked about the universe, about the creation, about the soul mechanisms. She also connected and communicated with Mother Divine and learned many sections of the spiritual powers directly from the Mother. One day, when she was talking with Mother Divine, she asked her, I want to control the negativity on the planet. The reason was to handle humanity's blocks in a proper way. After her meditation was done, Mother Divine gave the answer. No, you can't. You're already the nature. In the nature, going as a commander, no. I can give a commander in your life, a son. He's a God. I'm giving a beautiful soul to you. Finally, Mary asked Mother Divine, bless me with a beautiful son to control the whole beautiful planet. Mother Divine personally blessed Jesus' mother with a beautiful new soul. Here he is, Jesus. All Jesus' energy was nothing but his mother's energy. It was the first incarnation for Jesus. It was the first time Jesus' soul was born on the planet. Before that, there was no incarnation of Jesus. There is only one new soul, and that was Jesus. Only Jesus is a new soul, a pure crystal soul that came from Mother Divine. Jesus was a baby of Mother Divine. That is the greatness of Jesus. A great soul came on earth to remove the darkness in each person. Jesus came only for the purpose of helping. The fundamental thing is, once you believe in him, no matter how many mistakes you've done, how much you've been a little crazy, how much you're a bumpy character, he's the right soul. He'll fix us. He'll take care of us. What does he need? An open heart, complete surrender, and total faith. That is his greatness. Jesus has a direct channel to connect to every soul anywhere. He can give answers from the cosmic and protect his students very easily. Jesus is the number one forgiving master. If you surrender to his love and grace, he forgives. If you say an apology, he can wash it all right away. Forgiving means he's taking all the karmas. Jesus is a master of healing and can give healing immediately. Who is the Jesus? He is the man of huge love. That love is incredible. If your heart, you started to make a flame, a love flame, the flame getting day by day, bigger, bigger, huge bigger. When you're starting the huge bigger, you can command on Jesus very easily. You can't command on Jesus with willpower, like dominating. You can't do anything like games through Through only the love, you have to suck him. No mantras, no yantras, no tantras. Nothing will work in front of him. Only with your open heart and love, you have to suck him. Please, please, like a begging, like really opening the heart. Otherwise, simply going to the church, doing the processes like normal prayers, it's a wasting of your time. Jesus Christ didn't have any weapons in his hands. The biggest weapons were his eyes, his heart, Hridaya chakra, and his womb chakra, the highest supernatural power. The bottom line is, he wants to heal painful hearts. He tasted the God power. He did unbelievable miracles. He knew the God power. That same God again gave different testing. But Jesus didn't command on God. He didn't get angry at the people who were crucifying him. He never used his power for selfishness. Simply, just his heart was open and smiling and accepting. That is why he became the highest, most powerful master, because of that. Jesus is love. Love is Jesus. We cannot tolerate, even if someone is showing negativity on you. A negative feeling is throwing on you. A negative concept is throwing on you. You cannot tolerate that. But that is his greatness. Pure, true love. That is his biggest desire. We all need to turn like him, more than him. Love ever, hurt never. Love is a powerful arrow. Even if your wife, your husband, your kids keep torturing you, keep smiling and sending your love. Only love, 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 love. That will automatically turn around everything around, and everything will be with you. Love has its own power. Don't think I'm giving wrong advice. Practically implement and tell me. That's one of the strongest messages of the big boss, Jesus Christ, that you can win victory through love. On this planet, who is carrying the strongest womb chakra is Jesus Christ. Then next underneath is his mother, Mary. Yes, yes. Jesus Christ in his life, he was 100% unconditional, true love, pure true love. In Jesus's life, his best friend was his mother. He told her A to Z. That's why she completely understood him. When he started healing anyone, he prayed to his mother first. His first teacher was his mother. The Vedic concept speaks about the womb chakra. If you take Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Shirdi Baba, Buddha, Jesus Christ, they received amazing light through women. Women are more powerful than men. Now I'm giving a comment on Jesus' soulmate. It was his mother. Without his mother, there is no Bible. Jesus had 100% true love on his mother. Unbelievable, unconditional. And that's the end of today's reading.
And then we also wanted to share two mantras with you. One of them, I think you already know, it was already given in Devi Loka a while ago, but we still wanted to include it today because it is the mantra that represents the relationship between Jesus and Mother Mary. And this mantra says everything that we just read. The mantra means Jesus, it's Jesus's personal mantra, and the meaning is, my home is my mother's heart. And the mantra is Om Natali Hrudayam Na Svastanam. Om Natali Hrudayam Na Svastanam. And probably most of you already know this. And then the other pin code might be new to some of you. And we also want to share it today. It's pin code that Swami gave to access Mother Mary's womb. It's very, very powerful. I mean, they're all powerful. We have had a lot of experiences with that mantra as well. And that mantra to connect to Mother Mary's womb is Om Nesraim Tesraim and then your personal mantra. I repeat, it's on Nesraim, Tesraim, plus your personal mantra.
So, the reading here ends with Swami talking about how without Mary, there's no Bible. So I just saw the chat. The mantras will be in the PDF that we'll be uploading to the.
We could quickly write the.
Would
Do
you
you
mind?
want us to write it in the chat right now? Yeah. Both or just the second? You all have the second? Just the second is enough?
Okay, both.
Nitya,
Both are asking.
okay, can you quickly do this?
Can you? Well,
'Cause
sure. Okay.
I struggle with your computer.
Okay.
Okay. Oh yeah, Kritajna, that's what Swami said. He said it was the first incarnation for Jesus. It was a crystal clear new soul that was just created for the purpose of what Jesus did. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll talk
that's
about
what
that
Swami said.
in just a moment.
Yeah.
That's the first one, and then the second one.
Brand new soul without any karmas. Not incredible. Yeah. No karmas at all. Yeah.
Okay, they're in the chat. So, without Mary, there is no story. There's no Bible, there's no Jesus, there's no Christianity. And at the beginning, he talks about how she had been meditating for millions of lifetimes. And so there's a beautiful story here that is very important for us to understand, which is Mary is meditating and she's asking for the mother for help in controlling, what is it exactly he says? To handle humanity's blocks. Okay. Because humanity had been created in a state of oneness. The intention was that we live in a state of oneness. We live in the presence of God. Okay? In what Swami calls Brahma consciousness, Aham Brahmasmi, God in everything. In other words, everywhere we go, we see God in everything, in everyone, and that's what we interact with. But then there was the fall of humanity, right? There was the separation, and we experienced that duality. And over millennia, right, we got to the point where humanity as a whole was stuck, and we were stuck because of the blocks. The blocks that we developed were preventing us from seeing the divinity in the creation. It was preventing us from staying connected to the presence of the mother and the father. And Mother Mary recognized this, and she wanted to do something about it. But when she asks for the ability to do it herself, she's told no. It has to be a son, right? It has to be a male.
Masculine.
Yes, it has to be a masculine who can handle the level of negativity, right? But without Mary, that son cannot be born. In other words, without the mother, an incarnation of the purity of the Father's love cannot come into the creation. Right? Jesus is the union of the mother and the father. And the fact that he's a crystal clear soul means there's no block, there's nothing covering him whatsoever. Right? So he's a pure embodiment of the union of the love of the father and the mother. And that's who he is. And that is the potential that we all have to become. He became the template for human beings, for all of humanity. But he could not come without Mary. He could not incarnate, he could not be born without first her coming. And that is very significant because so much of what Swami did was about first connecting us to Mother Divine. We have to connect first to the Mother in everything. We first have to connect to her. Then we can connect to the Son in everything, the Christ consciousness, because that is the presence of the Father's love in union with the Mother in all of creation. And so when we go to the Mother, when we go to the Son, then we have access to the Father through all of creation. And now we live again in the state of oneness. Now we live again in a state of love for everything, recognizing ourselves as the divine, loving the divine in everything. And so Mother Mary is a critical piece to this. Right? The Mother is a critical piece to this. We can't bypass her.
And that's why we very consciously today, the whole world is celebrating Christmas, but we very consciously and intentionally called the Satsang Mother Mary and Jesus, because to us and to many of you, I believe as well, it is the celebration of both of them. We actually have to celebrate Mother Mary in the same way as we celebrate Jesus
Mhm.
at this festival. And same for the crucifixion, actually, but
That's right.
this we will talk about this at the Easter time.
Yeah.
But they are like inseparable. They are like a Shiva Shakti union. And even the end of the reading today, where Swami is saying they were soulmates, they were the closest friends, they shared everything with each other. So the whole entire lifetime was that bond, that union between the two of them. So this is a big Shiva Shakti message here. And we will talk about all these mechanisms of masculine, feminine more in upcoming satsangs, about this dynamics and what are these energies and how do they interplay and how do we need both of them. So this is the first taste of that. And also that Mother Divine said, you can't control the negativity. You can't cross over the negativity. You are a female. You are the nature. I talked about this last Wednesday in our little. The nature means like she is the A to C. She is dirty. She is the everything that we see in creation, the whole variety. A woman stands for that. She is the representation of that creation. The mother energy is that. And so Mother Divine says, you want to control the negativity, but you are the nature. So that somehow doesn't work well. You need a commander, you need a masculine force who can cut through the negativity. And this is one of the principles of the divine masculine, that it can cut through negativity. And we will read more about, there's actually in the Jesus book, there's a lot more about why Mother Divine said no to Mother Mary being that controlling force, but we didn't put it all today, but it's a whole chapter in the Jesus book. If you want to already read it, she explained why it has to be a male. But so, yeah, there's a very big, powerful message there, but still it was Mother Mary who initiated that process and who is one with this entire Christ mission and Christ consciousness coming onto the globe and birthing that. She birthed it.
That's right. If we want to learn to embody the Christ consciousness, right, she is the key. Connecting with her is the key, or connecting to the Divine Mother is the key. And what Florentine was just saying about how he came and we needed a masculine to be able to cut through the illusion. Swami's very clear that cutting is not happening with any weapons. He's doing it with his love. And that's one part why the masculine is so important, because when the woman is the nature, right, she feels and experiences the negativity so strongly, right? The masculine, and again, it's not the man and the woman, it's the masculine and the feminine. I just want to make sure that that's clear, right? Because we all carry both, and we can all make sure that we are all tapping into that masculine energy, the divine masculine energy. But so it is easier for him to be able to see that love and that divinity and the presence of the divinity in everything, no matter what shape it takes. Right. So whether it's, his followers, whether it's people who are loving him or people who are torturing him and experiencing the highest negativity, he is still able to see that love. And that's the key. Right. And that is, by the way, the key to commanding and washing the blocks. That's what we were talking about last week. It's the love. We have to have that open-hearted love the way that Jesus did in order to be able to win the blocks, right? In order to be able to wash the blocks, in order to be able to stay in a connected divine state, no matter what is happening to us. Because if we're experiencing any kind of negativity, that's what he says here, if I can find it, where if anybody is throwing negativity on you, right? Or any negative concepts, we can't tolerate that. If we have any degree of block or any degree of ego, if we're not in that state of divine love, we cannot tolerate that. But our goal is to get to the point where it doesn't matter what the outward appearance is, we're able to see through that illusion and we're able to see the divinity. We're able to see the soul of that person. We're able to see the presence of the divine in that person. And we're able to love that no matter what.
And that is that is Jesus. That is the Shiva energy. And Jesus is a particular kind of Shiva energy. That's how I see him. It's a Shiva energy, the divine masculine, with the highest unconditional love, like the highest divine love that you can imagine. He's an embodiment of unconditional love. He's God incarnate. Like it's literally God in a body. So yeah, it's a very, very particular energy.
The reason we say Christ consciousness, right? We've talked about that in the ECC group, the Embodying Christ Conscious group on Friday. But Christ consciousness is the union of the mother and the father in the creation, right? The father exists beyond the creation. He's the formless consciousness. He's the formless love. The mother is the creation. She's the Shakti that animates everything. When those two are in union, the union of the two, that is the Christ consciousness. And that's why it's present in everything, because the union of the two is present in everything. The union of the mother and the father, that's what makes the whole creation. And so Jesus was unique in that he was an embodiment of that, right? So he was the love of the Father, right? In union with the mother and embodied in a human body, right? And so that is the ability to be in a body and to stay in a body and to experience that reflection of the divinity that exists in everything, as opposed to having to go into a cave, having to do deep austerities to kind of cut yourself off, like the ancient kind of austerities where they would, sit in the middle of the sun, right, surrounded by fires, right, or in the deepest cold, right? They would do these things for thousands of years. And this is true. They would do this, right? Because they were trying to transcend the body. And they were trying to transcend the body so that they could connect to the consciousness of the Father, which exists beyond the creation. And Jesus was the first person who was able to embody the fullness of the Father's creation in the body without the need to transcend the body. And that's the ability that we all have. We all have that ability because of his birth, because he was the door. He opened that door. We all have the ability now to embody the fullness of the Father's love and experience the divinity in everything all the time through the open heart because of his birth. And just because of his birth, by the way, the moment he was born, that template was instilled in all of humanity. And so the channels, everything that we've been given through Swami is a shortcut to wash the blocks, to purify everything that's covering the soul, all the darkness, all the negativity, to help strengthen the light of the soul so that we can embody that. And that's what he gave through immortal enlightenment also, right? Is the ability to embody this. To just bring it down to earth really quickly, to simplify it, when we love the divinity in another, this is what we're doing. When we see the divinity in another, and we love that, from the divinity in us to the divinity in another, we are embodying the Christ consciousness in that moment. Our soul is moving beyond the creation, and we are in the presence of God.
And I want to bring it a little bit more to our personal relationship to the, to Jesus and Mary and what they mean to us.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's an amazing divine orchestration again, like usual. That last time we talked about the blocks, and then today in this story is kind of like the answer to the problem of the blocks. It's Mother Mary herself asked, please, Mother Divine, I want to help humanity with their blocks. I want to take care of this. So she recognized this problem in humanity and she wanted to help. And then Mother Divine gave Jesus as the solution to our blocks. I mean, he had many, many, many things that he needed to do, but that was one of his main purposes. And in this reading that we read today, Swami says, Jesus is the one fixing us. Jesus is the one who can take care of us no matter what crazy character we are, what crazy mistakes we've done, whatever bumpy character we are. So what he's saying is, even if you have a ton of blocks, you have a lot of things that you need to work through, he is the one. He is the one fixing us. Fixing is how Swami said it. And he even gives the exact instruction how to do this. He's saying, all you need is an open heart, complete surrender, and total faith. So when you open your heart fully to Jesus, you completely surrender whatever it is that you're carrying. Let's say you have a block. You completely surrender it. You completely admit it, like, Jesus, this is what I'm carrying. Or you did a mistake. You did something you feel really ashamed about, or you feel really guilty about, whatever it is you feel you couldn't share with anybody because it's so bad. You surrendered completely. You completely admit it. You could even say an apology, like Swami says, say an apology. Let's say you hurt somebody, right? Jesus, I did this thing. I did this mistake. I hurt this person. I am so sorry. And of course, you have to feel it in your heart. You can't fake it. You have to feel it in your heart. And then he can take care of the entire karma. He can completely wash it with his forgiveness. I mean, this is just such an incredible gift. You don't need to face the karmic consequences, need to experience the exact same thing again, over and over and over. Jesus can take care. He can wash it. He can forgive it. He can literally pull out that karmic consequence. It's incredible. I mean, this is such a gift to us. So any block, anything that we are carrying, we can just go to Jesus with it. And you don't even need to do a mantra, nothing. Swami says, no mantra, no tantra, no yantra. It's not what counts with Jesus. It's the open heart. You have to just this complete surrendering. Jesus, just take care of me. I did this thing, completely open, completely showing, like, not hiding any little tiny bit of yourself. And I have experienced this myself so many times, that just this unconditional love, no matter what I think how bad this thing is that I've just done, or in the past, or that I'm carrying, something that I could feel so ashamed about. And when I admit it, when I share it with Jesus, there's nothing but unconditional love and healing energy coming from him, and he's just washing it all out. And Swami says he's the number one healer to us. He can heal anything. So whatever pain you're having, whatever needs yeah, healing. Just you can turn to Jesus. He's the one taking care of us.
It's part of the reason why for me it was difficult to do this initially was, one, because it was too simple. I really believed that I had to do all these other things, right? I have to do all these mantras. I have to decharge. I have to do all these processes. I have to do all these things. I didn't really believe that all I had to do was really go to Jesus and open my heart, and that would be enough, that he would take care, right? So there was that initial lack of faith that it could be that simple, right? And then the second thing that was really hard for me was to fully open my heart to him, because my heart was not fully open. And so
It's actually not that easy.
it's
It
that's
sounds
right.
so
Well,
easy.
it's the kind of thing where
Yeah,
it's simple, but it's not easy.
exactly.
Yeah, because of the blocks, right? Because of the unworthiness, because of the shame, right? Because of the guilt, right? Because of the insecurity that I was feeling so often. First of all, I couldn't feel my own heart. I couldn't feel what was going on. And this was already, I mean, at this point, this was like 2006 to 2000, like, I don't know, 17, 19, 10 to 12 years of really intense sadhana under Swami Kaleshwar, with additional years of spiritual practice before that. And I was still not feeling my heart. I was still not aware of my own feelings completely. And actually, the key for me was Mother Mary. The final push to where I am today, which is not the final stage, right? I'm still in my process of evolution, but I can say that I am in a process now, and in a stage where I feel this love, right? I experience this oneness, and I'll be able to live it and move through it, right? And then I'll go in and out of it, because I was able to open my heart, because I was able to feel all these emotions finally, because I was able to unblock myself. Well, not me, Jesus, right? Was finally able to do it. The key for me was Mother Mary. And what happened was, one day, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago, I don't remember exactly the time, I suddenly had this incredible urge and this impulse to do that pin code, the Mother Mary Chakra pin
That we
code.
share with you today.
Yeah. And I did that every day, at least for 101 days. I mean, I didn't even put a limit on it. I wasn't even doing mala and japa with it. I just started running it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'd look at her picture and I'd run it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And then that, right? Once that kind of really digested and internalized in me, that is what kickstarted the process, right? Of finally, so in other words, connecting to her womb, right? Connecting to the womb that birthed Jesus, the womb that held that spark of God, the womb that enabled the birth of the Christ consciousness into the world. When I finally connected to that, that is what began the process of truly opening my heart. It was her. It was her womb. And it was connecting to her heart and her womb that allowed me to finally begin the process of fully opening my heart and opening up to Jesus. Because then, once I started to feel what I was carrying, once I started to feel what I was holding, then I could admit it. I couldn't admit it before because I wasn't even connected to it. I wasn't even aware that it was there. And this is a process that continues to this day, right? I can't say how much more is there, but the difference is now I can feel it. When these things come up, when my struggles and my challenges come up, I can feel them. And then I can now immediately, I'm calling on Jesus. I'm immediately calling on Mary, right? I'm immediately calling on Swami, and I'm opening my heart. And that's the key. My heart opens to them. And in their presence, it's exactly like it should have been in our childhood. Our mother and father are supposed to be connected fully to source, to God. They're supposed to be in a state of unconditional love, so that when we are in any kind of illusion, any kind of pain, any kind of traumatic experience, we come to them and we share with them, this happened and it hurts so much. My heart is hurting. I feel scared. I feel so angry. I feel so upset. I can't believe this person did this to me. It feels so unfair, right? And then the presence of another soul that is fully connected to the divine keeps our soul connected to the divine through their love. Their unconditional love is the bridge to the divine. And in the presence of the divine, whatever it is that we're feeling dissolves. And so we didn't get that. We got stuck. But now, because of developing that open heart, I can now open my heart to any of the divine souls, open my heart to what I'm feeling and share it with them. And now they become that bridge.
And maybe I just want to say this what you said there, they were supposed to be that, like that would be our natural divine state if there wasn't blocks, if there wasn't
Exactly.
negativity. So
Exactly.
it's not
It's
like
not a blame.
they did it
No,
wrong.
no, yeah,
Why,
exactly.
you know,
It's
it,
intended.
yeah,
That's the natural
that's the
intended. That's the
potential
potential. Exactly.
for human beings.
Yes.
And that is exactly what Mother Mary saw. And then that's why Jesus came to help with
Yeah.
that big, big karmic negativity that generations after generations after generations, we grow up in these negativities, with these pains, with these wounds, with these traumas. That is it. That is exactly the purpose why he came. And I just want to quickly, because we talk about personal relationships about Mother Mary, we talked a lot about her already in our Mother Divine Navaratri satsang. But that particular pin code that we gave today, you shared your experience with it. I also want to share mine because, yeah, I mean, even this pin code that links to Jesus says it all.
Yeah.
You know, my home is my mother's heart. So even he, in his personal mantra, if you want to connect to him with that mantra, it's actually through her. You know, but that pin code for me, I've so many times really experienced Mother Mary's nurturing womb, like the safe, protected that we all would have needed as a baby, as a little child. um, that I can really access this in a moment of anxiety, feeling unsafe, or struggling with something. Like literally, I would use it, for example, at night if I can't sleep because of crazy thoughts running through my mind. I'm anxious, I feel scared, whatever it is, and then setting the intention, okay, Mother Mary, I'm just going into your womb right now. And then I do this mantra, and it's so calming and so soothing. So try it maybe a couple of times, until you can feel it. It's the more often you do it and the more you trust it, the more you will feel it. It's very, very powerful. And that's how we can access that mother energy, that beautiful mother air. It's a very specific mother energy. It's not Kali energy that we are calling in. It's the Mother Mary, the nurturing, the soft, the motherly, the unconditionally loving, feminine motherly love. So that is what Mother Mary is an embodiment of. And she became Mother Divine through Jesus. She became an embodiment of Mother Divine. So connecting to her is same as connecting to Mother Divine. And she is our mother. She wants to be our mother. She's offering herself to be our true mother. So even we didn't get that as little children,
That's right.
we can always access it through her if we want that, if our heart is open to her. So that's how we can personally relate to her. Yeah.
There was a
Question?
question in the chat, yeah, in terms of how many times, and it's like,
Charging?
charging. Yeah, I mean, like
There were
100,
no
108 is
instructions
the minimum. Actually, I should say there were no instructions.
to charge it
He
in a
just gave
specific
it, right? But it's one of those mantras that is so short that if you chant it for 3 to 5 minutes, you've already blown way past 108, right? And so I just did it over and over again. And the important thing with these mantras,
Hard.
that's exactly right. It's the heart, right? So
Mhm.
it's not about mechanically sitting down
Mhm.
with the mala and 108 times chanting this mantra and then we're done. It's about connecting to her womb, right? So if possible, whatever connects you to that, imagine yourself in her womb. Imagine yourself with Jesus in her womb, right? Opening your heart to that, feeling what that feels like, how it feels to be in the womb of Mother Divine, with her heart above you, you know, loving you unconditionally, one with her, right? One with her in her womb through an umbilical cord or whatever, or just a floating soul in that womb, anything that really gets you to feel that energy. And then the same thing with Jesus, right? Anything that opens your heart to him, right? Anything that helps you to feel gratitude for his presence in your life, for who he is, right? Um, and by the way, he's nothing but a mirror, right? That's why thinking on him and opening our heart to him is so important, because he was that pure light. He was a pure reflection of that light and that love. So as we connect with him and as we open our heart to him and we come to feel his energy and know his energy, that or that divine presence, that's what's in us. It's the same. It's exactly the same. And that's something that he said, and that's something that Swami said over and over and over again. There's no difference. There's no difference between them and us whatsoever. That same light in them is the same light in us.
The only difference is ours is covered.
That's
We don't know
we
who
don't
we are.
exactly.
So that's the difference. He
Exactly.
knows who he is.
Exactly.
Yes. And I just read this one sentence jumped out at me while you were talking. Swami says, a great soul, Jesus, came on earth to remove the darkness in each person.
Yeah.
So he's the one removing that illusion, those layers, these negativities, to know yourself,
That's
to
right.
know that you are God, to embody your highest soul self.
That's right.
So he's the one that you can call on for that.
Yes.
No. And I also want to share that even if you don't use the mantra,
Right.
like for me, many times I just go to Jesus's or Mother Mary's picture and look into their eyes. Swami says this is a super powerful mechanism. You probably already know this, to connect to a divine soul through the eyes. So if you have a picture, just look at them, and it's really like talking to them. It's you talking soul to soul. And sometimes, for example, if I'm going through something very, very intense and I don't even know how to express what I'm going through, I can't even share it in words. I just kind of collapse in front of Jesus and I look into his eyes and just, please help me. And he knows what I need, just please help me. It's just surrendering, like, I'm giving this to you. You do whatever you need to do, and always he helps. Swami says he only came for the purpose of helping. So that's his job. That's
Yes.
why he's here. We just have to turn to him. They always need us to turn to them with an open heart. They are constantly offering their help, their healing, their love, their forgiveness, but we need to turn to them. That's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Swami says, what does he need, right? So first of all, it doesn't matter what is happening, right? I often am calling on him after I've made the biggest mistakes, right? Where I really was not in my highest self and I really hurt somebody, right? I really said something in a way that was very hurtful, or I was closed-hearted towards my children and I can see that it really hurt them. And then they go off to school like that. And then it's just, oh man, that was a mistake, right? That's the mistake. I'm offering that to Jesus, right? And that it doesn't matter the scale, it doesn't matter the size, right? The important thing is the open heart, complete surrender, and the total faith, right? In other words, the total faith that he can take care. It's the belief right? This is the reason why in the biblical story, the woman who fell at his feet and just touched the hem of his robe was healed, because her faith, right, was the conduit through which his energy could flow, right? Because if we have an open heart and then we totally surrender to who he is, right? It's not the personality, it's not the individual Jesus, it's the gateway to the infinite, to the Father's love and to the Mother that he is. When we have faith that what comes through that gateway, through our open heart, can take care of anything, when we believe that, it makes it so. It makes it so. And that's why it's so important that we believe and that we have faith, right? At this point, and it's a cycle, right? It's a really positive cycle. The moment we start to do it, even just a little bit, we just crack our heart open, surrender a little bit, have a little bit of faith. The example that we get, I mean, the miracle that happens in our life shows us, oh, I should do this more. And so it builds our faith until it becomes like rock solid. That's what, just sorry, last thing. That's why he says, even faith the size of a mustard seed is enough. Just even if your door is only able to crack that small, but you believe, I that size faith, I believe that he can take care, maybe that's enough.
I was just thinking while you were talking that so many people have actually difficulties with Jesus, like even in our community. And so did I. I had such an anger, and I just want to talk very briefly about this,
Yeah.
because also Catholic Church, like so many Christian churches out there, and so many people are saying, like, well, so much cruelty, child abuse, like people have been killed in the name of Jesus, and so many horrible things, like I don't want to have anything to do with that guy. Just leave me alone with Jesus, like an anger, like a frustration, I definitely don't want to turn to Jesus like that. And I just want to say that these, like you can see in Jesus' life, like he was constantly surrounded by negativities, negative energies. He was attacked, he was blamed, I mean, tortured, killed, the crucifixion. It was just, Swami says, the highest divine force attracts the highest negative force. It's just part of the nature, it's part of the balancing principle in our creation, or at least in this where we live. And so he was the highest, most powerful divine light, and he just attracted the dark forces. And so they are still there trying to work. So they infiltrated the churches, and they
The people, the
the
people. Yeah, the
humans,
human.
exactly,
Yeah.
and they created a lot of trauma and a lot of pain so that people would turn away from Jesus, because then he loses his power. Because if everybody truly, if everybody would just turn to him, we would already have a healed world.
Hmm.
I believe that if everybody was just connected, you know, it would be a completely different world. But because he's so powerful and because he can give healing so easily and he can forgive everything immediately, I mean, this is the most powerful soul. Of course, negative forces, they don't want that. They want people stay in pain, stay in negativities, then they can do their thing. It's just part of their agenda. It's from their perspective the right thing to do. Swami taught a lot about this, how we need to always keep that in mind and be aware of these two sides of the creation, the dark and the light. They're just both always there. I mean, now we are moving into the Sai Yuga, so the influence of the negativity is going down, luckily. So we will experience a way more beautiful world, and and the Christ consciousness will be born. But that is to explain what happened, with Christianity and with Jesus, and so many people turning away from him. So maybe we all need to, like, whoever feels negativity towards Jesus, and I had that too. I had such like trauma almost with the Catholic Church, like hearing so many horrible things, and then you throw it all in one bucket. That this is all about Jesus. I don't, even though Jesus himself taught the opposite, he was the opposite of everything that ever happened, all these painful things. But yeah, maybe each one of us who is carrying some pain there, or some anger or resistance, like I don't like Jesus. I don't, whatever it is, to maybe look at that, maybe even surrender this to Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus, I want you to be my healer. I want to turn to you, but I'm sorry, my heart's close to you. I don't know how to access you. Please help me, and he will help you.
Yeah.
So even if you don't know how, if you can't open your heart to him, tell him that, he understands. He's unconditional love. He doesn't mind, as long as you're honest with him. That's all he needs, this complete honesty and this surrendering. Like, this is what I'm feeling, Jesus, you know. There's no judgment, absolutely no judgment, even if you have rage against him, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Or Mother Mary, some people don't like her, oh, this virgin thing, I can't have, like she too, she was completely put in this very limited light, and Swami kind of opened it up again to the truth of her. Like, she was a powerful master soul. Who she really was, this is not really coming across even in the Catholic Church, even though they at least celebrate her. The other Christian churches, they even put her out, of the equation.
The equation.
Yeah, like she's not even really, worshipped or thought of in the other dominations, but still. So the same with her, she is also a very, very powerful key to heal our mother wounds, to be that mother that we are all missing. The same thing, if all of humanity had this a healthy connection to the mother, to the divine mother, again, what a different world would it be? So it's
Exactly.
somehow like the two of them they hold so much healing and so much potential for this earth.
Yes,
And that's why they came.
that's right.
They came for humanity. They came for this planet. And it's almost like it's up to us to take that gift.
That's right.
It's like, this is the gift, or we have to take it and really don't fall into the traps of the negativities and all these negative beliefs that we have around them, you know. Um, and of course, there's also Swami and Baba, and some people just feel more comfortable with them. That's fine too, It's not like you have to go to them, But if you feel any negativity or resistance or a closed heart, maybe it's just worth it to offer it to them, and ask them for help with that, to remove that illusion, remove that negativity.
Yes.
So just wanted to quickly throw that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also past life trauma that many of us have
Oh, yeah.
experienced. Yeah. In all kinds of different ways, persecution as early Christians for being followers of Jesus, right? In the first initial generations, and the pain that brings, to then being persecuted by the church later on for practicing,
Yes.
real mystical traditions of oneness and things like that,
Mhm.
and union with the nature that then the Catholic Church wanted to suppress, right? So there's all kinds of pain that a lot of people carry, karmically around Jesus, right? That it for me also, coming to Jesus brought up a lot of that for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of pain that I had already been carrying for a really long time, that made me not want to go in that direction, right? Or also, when you go in that direction, and if you opened up to something very powerful in the past, in a past life, the negativity probably came down at some point and created its own trauma, right? These are all things that many of us are carrying, right? Persecution trauma, like all these kinds of things.
But it's also not even only just the trauma and the torture and the violence, but it's also like many people associate with the Christian churches this rigidity, and there's all these rules that I have to follow, but then the priest is teaching these rules, but what is he living? Like, people can feel there's something not really coherent and doesn't feel right. And And again, Jesus actually came to smash all these false rules that block us from the divine. That was one of his. He was such a revolutionary soul. He came to break those misunderstandings that it's not about all these rules and laws. It's about the heart. You can directly access God within your own heart and soul. You don't need this. You don't, like what the Pharisees and the religious leaders at that time were teaching was very rigid and like tons of rules. And you need to do these 15 prayers every day. And if you don't do, then forget about God, kind of like this, like a very rule and law based kind of religious rigidity. And
And
people actually had no access from their heart,
yes, that's right.
and
Yeah.
and then Jesus comes in and he's talking about love and that you have God in you and you can connect directly, and then the power of the feminine. He talked about women, which is a whole other thing, that in the Catholic Church, women are kind of degraded, which was also the opposite of what Jesus taught and what Jesus brought. He was such a feminist, So you can see how it all got so distorted and became the opposite actually of what Jesus taught and what he stood for. And so it's kind of like going back to what did he really teach? Who was he
Yeah.
as a soul? He actually never created a religion. That was human making. Humans created that. He just came at who he was as a soul, and he taught the highest divine lessons that were ever taught.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
And like Florentine said about what a gift it was that Mary and Jesus were given, that was in many ways the culmination of the divine mission. That is the mission that Sri Kaleshwar is a part of.
Yes.
The channels, the Shakti channels, those are tools, right? Those are tools to enable and move the mission forward, but they're not the end goal, right? The mission was a huge part of the mission, right? Was the creation of a womb that could hold the birth of a soul like this, because that's the redemption of humanity. The moment that womb exists, and the moment that soul that carries that spark is able to enter into that womb, in the creation, there now exists the doorway for all of humanity to be redeemed, for all of humanity to reconnect to that divinity through that doorway. That's who they are. That's what they are. And that's why opening our heart to them, right, allows us to enter into this consciousness. You know?
And the consciousness is really the one of unconditional love. That is the
Yeah.
Christ consciousness
And unconditional love in the creation,
in the creation.
for the creation, and
Yeah,
for each other.
exactly.
That's why that golden commandment is love the Lord God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself.
And love one another as I have loved you.
And love one another as I have loved you. That is the key. When we learn to love one another from that state, that's when it becomes possible for miracles to simply flow. And the Shakti channels and so much of what Swami has taught has been to enable us to reach that state faster, right? Purify everything faster, but that's the goal, right? That's why Swami says eventually you can put the mantras in a dustbin. At that point, when we're at that open-hearted state, right? We can also just go to Jesus, right? And he also said that. He also said, if you go to Jesus, you don't need any mantras, you don't need any processes, and you don't need anything else, because everything is contained in him. Everything is contained in him. But it means developing that full open heart to him, that full open heart to who he is, right? And if we want to do that, let's go to Mary first and develop that open heart to her heart and to her womb, because she's the bearer of him. And then we can open our heart to that fully. And then, of course, any processes and any mantras or anything else that we want to do to assist us in that process, right? It's wonderful and it's fantastic. But to live in that state of loving the divine in everything and everyone, that is the goal. That is the Sai Yuga. If you could imagine for a moment the whole world living that way, the whole world in awareness of the divinity within is the same as the divinity and the light in others. And so everybody is constantly loving that. And when we love that, we're in total, that's the kingdom of heaven. We experience the presence of God all the time. We experience the will of God through the inspirations that come to us. We are aligned, and everything that we need comes from living in that state.
Maybe we should open it
I
up.
was just
And
going
then
to
we
say,
should
and then we should do a meditation.
Yes.
Can you go ahead and open it up initially? I've got to quickly use the.
Is there anything in the chat? Okay. Karuna, what do you mean? Which one of the PMs should we use, Shiva or Shakti PM?
Well, I think we should have 2 or 3 PMs, and I got 2, and one is really related to the Mother Divine aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and one is more Shiva charged. So that's my question. If
You mean
I
the 2 mantras we gave today?
know the PM, the PM,
Oh, the personal mantra. Okay, now I
yes,
get. Sorry, I was completely. I
the
thought you meant
personal
personal
one.
mantra of Jesus, so I was confused. Sorry.
No,
So
my
you have
own
2.
personal.
You have different personal mantras. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
You can use any of them. It doesn't matter.
Whatever you feel
doesn't matter.
pulled.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes. The personal mantra is just you do. It's kind of like you're connecting it to you. And if you use regularly both personal mantras, you can use either one of them or alternate. You know, you could
See
even
how it feels.
yeah.
Yeah. You experiment with it. Try with one, see
Yes.
how it feels. Try with the other. And maybe you feel a resonance for one over the other.
Wait, was there some other question or did we
So
already?
I first thought because we relate to Mother Mary's womb, I should use the Shakti PM, my personal Shakti PM, in combination with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you could try. I mean, Swami always says, I'm just your personal mantra. If you have like 3, you could use any of these or all 3, like alternating, you know. He didn't give any diksha or
Yeah.
yeah,
The most important thing there is
the heart.
that's exactly what I was just
Yes.
going to say. What I feel the most important thing there is it can become, Swami gives so much teachings and so many techniques, and Nityananda does an amazing job of then breaking it down into so many I don't know, the concepts, right? Details, right? That then it can feel overwhelmed. Like, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Right? When we follow the heart, we cannot go wrong. Right? So in other words, the way that I now approach these things, instead of asking, should I do this or should I do that? Right? It's, I feel into it. Right? Like I have 2 options. Right? And when I open my heart to the situation, that's the one, because I can just feel it. I can feel that this is the one that my heart is telling me, my soul is telling me, use this one.
Or
right?
both feel
Or
good,
both,
you know.
right?
You could try,
Yeah.
just try it and feel what resonates better. Or it could be in one situation this, in another situation that.
Yes.
You know, it could be.
Or today this one and
Yeah.
tomorrow that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I really want to communicate is that we don't have to worry about making a mistake.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry, and I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, right? But it's not that if you use one, you know, it's not the right one, or it won't be as powerful, or
Especially with Jesus and
yeah,
Mother
especially
Mary.
with Jesus. It
They-
ultimately
they're
comes
so
down,
forgiving. You,
yeah, to the
yes,
open
you're-
heart there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And your intention, what you're
Exactly.
asking for, you don't even need a mantra. Like I said,
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
many times
Yes,
I just go to their picture and it doesn't, or even I think on them in my third eye, I see their face when I don't have a picture right with me or something. They're still right there. They're always right there, It's just, I don't know, like for example, the Mother Mary pin code I use for very specific, like when like I said, I need this womb like energy, but I'm sure if you just looked at her picture and you said, can you just put me in your womb, Mother Mary, she would do the same thing. It's like she doesn't ask for any
yes,
technique, any tool, just that you come to
of
her,
course.
so
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your question.
The understanding that I've come to about love is that love is so first, everything is love. Everything is love. Everything is a manifestation of love, right? Of the Father's love in union with the Mother. The Mother is taking the seed of the Father's love, creating everything. Love is in everything, right? So that's the natural state. When we are in the creation, we are gateways of that love, right? In other words, we have the ability to broadcast that love. And so when we are in the creation and love flows from our heart to something, we are reestablishing the union with that. Or even better, we're recognizing the union with it. We are already in union with everything. We experience that union when we love it. So there will come a point where this is no longer a conscious choice. We are just in a state of love and oneness with everything. Before we reach that place, we consciously love. So we consciously love our wife or our children, and we consciously love, our pets, or we consciously love the nature. Every time we consciously love something, we are reestablishing the union with it. And so that is, it reestablishes the bond that is there. And in a way that it becomes like a bridge in the creation, right? In other words, if we're not experiencing that love and we don't feel that love for other things, then we are experiencing separation. We feel separate from those things. When we open our heart and allow the love to flow to those things, it rebuilds the bridge that's already there, right? It actually shows us that the bridge is already there. And so when we open our heart to Jesus, that's what we're doing, right? The flow of love that happens reopens. The words are not perfect because it's always there. His love is always there. Mother Mary's love is always there. The Father's love, the Divine Mother's love, it's always there. But when we're not open-hearted, we don't feel it. But when we reopen our heart, so when we reopen our heart to Mother Mary's womb and we feel love for it, we feel gratitude for it, we feel appreciation for it, for her heart, for Jesus's heart, right? For his presence. We are reestablishing our oneness with that. That's what we need. And then when our heart is open and that bridge is reestablished, it's always there. And then we ask, can you take care of this? Right?
I just want to quickly repeat one of the quotes because it's exactly what you're just saying.
Please, yeah.
And it's so touching how Swami is putting this in. So I just read it again. Okay, we had it already before, but he says, who is the Jesus? He's the man of huge love. That love is incredible. And then he says, if your heart, you started to make a flame, a love flame, the flame getting day by day, huge, bigger. When you're starting the huge, bigger, you can command on Jesus very, very easily. You cannot command on Jesus with willpower, like dominating. With only the love, you have to suck him. No mantras, no yantras, no tantras. Nothing will work in front of him. Only with your open heart and love, you have to suck him. Please, please, like a begging, like really opening the heart. And that is my experience, this begging, this total surrender, collapsing in front of Jesus, crying in front of him, like just pouring all your pain out to him. That's it. That's all he needs. It doesn't work with the mind, like intellectually telling him what's going on. It's just from the heart, like, this is my pain. I'm crying it out to you. Help me. It's like this begging, please help me. And with the huge open heart.
Exactly.
And that's why we talk so much about love.
Yes.
And when we started reading this today, I felt like all the satsangs we did so far are contained in this today.
That's right.
Everything is in here.
That's right.
So we could say we talked about Jesus and Mother Mary the whole entire time.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, the soulmate relationship is in this story. We haven't even touched on that yet. That Jesus and Mother Mary, Swami talked so much about this, how they Jesus could not have done what he did without that soulmate connection to Mother Mary. He needed her to share all his pains, his struggles. He also went through emotions. Jesus was a human being.
Right.
And he needed a soulmate. And Mother Mary was that soulmate to him. Also his wife, Swami said she was too, but his mother was his first soulmate. And they were sharing everything with each other. They were talking about everything. She knew everything about him. So he practiced that with her. What we can now practice with him and her is like he already implemented that soulmate mechanism.
Yes.
Like they are the first role models, the
Yes.
first template for us to understand what a soulmate relationship is.
Yes.
And if Jesus needed that, so much all of us need that even more, So even everything we talked so far about soulmates is contained in this relationship between Mother Mary and Jesus, that really he could not have done it without that.
Yes.
And Swami says soulmate is one of the pillars of what every healer, every master needs in his life. Without that, you wouldn't
Every
succeed.
human, actually.
Yeah, but especially,
Yeah.
like he said to all his students, you gotta have a soulmate
Yes.
in the body.
Yeah.
Because you need that like what Jesus had with his mother. You need to share your pains, your struggles, everything you're going through with somebody unconditionally loving you.
Yes.
You need that as a human being, at least one person.
Exactly.
And that could be your healer, if you don't have it in a friend or something, could be anybody, but we need that. And even Jesus needed that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And that's where my understanding is where the practice of confession in the Catholic Church came from, right?
Yes.
In other words, this was a practice where the early Christians were actively being soulmates for each other, listening with an unconditional heart, unconditional love, right? And then it just got codified and formalized, right? But the goal was that the priest would then be doing that for anybody who wanted to come. But anyways,
I just want to add one thing that we didn't put in this quote today, but I read this from Swami somewhere that Swami said that Jesus's students didn't succeed.
That's right.
He gave many different reasons, but one of the reasons was they did not take Jesus as their soulmate.
That's right.
Jesus's disciples did not take Jesus as their soulmate, which means they did not do what we were just talking about, like pour out everything that you're hiding, what you are ashamed of, what you think you're bad, you're not good enough. You did so many things, like, I don't know, whatever it is, what you have in your own mind, whatever judgment you have about you, that's it, like admitting it to him, sharing it with him. Jesus, I did this thing.
Yeah.
I hurt this person, or I think I'm not a good enough spiritual student. I'm actually not meditating enough, or maybe I'm not meditating at all. Oh my gosh, I'm doing everything wrong. Whatever it is for you, those were the things for me.
This That is
Yeah.
so important, because sometimes those are the things that we hide the most, right?
Yeah.
It's not just I did this,
Like our
right?
spiritual
I hurt somebody. It's the shame
the
that we feel
shame,
of
yes.
why we're not good enough and what we're not doing enough
Yes.
of, right? And
Yes.
admitting that to
Yes,
him.
especially when something comes from a guru like Swami telling you, okay, you got to do these processes, and then that was the block for me, and then I felt so overwhelmed, and sometimes I just didn't do anything, and then I felt so bad, like, oh my gosh, my master tells me to do this, I'm not doing it, I'm such a bad person and bad student, actually bad student, I should say, like. I felt so much shame. I couldn't even admit it to Swami or Jesus or anybody, because it's like, but they tell me to do this and then I'm not doing this. Well, I can tell them. They would totally judge me and think I'm not a good student. I mean, it's ridiculous. And once I admitted it and I was ready to give up that guilt, they just washed it with their love. There was no judgment, nothing but unconditional love. And once that burden was gone and I could feel they still love me and it doesn't matter and it doesn't make me a bad student or like not eligible for this mission or whatever we tell ourselves. um I had so much fun with meditating. You know what you see? Like suddenly the block was gone and it was like, oh, actually this feels good. Like I put this burden that like I had this burden, these rules on me, you know, that actually created a block. And then meditation doesn't even really make sense, when you do it out of that like guilt or
Rigidity.
rigidity. Yeah. That's just an example of what for me, you know, one of the examples that I had to admit.
Yeah.
It could be something very personal, private that you did in the past, or you hurt, or you broke somebody's heart, or you abused somebody. I mean, the most horrible things that you can imagine. You murdered somebody, he will forgive it.
Yes.
I can guarantee that if you come with an open heart and you feel the sorry, like if like Swami says, you say an apology, like you can't approach it mentally, like I did this, just take care, you have to feel it in your heart and then gone, you can
Yes.
wash it.
Yes.
So I don't know how did we get there. He did that with, oh yeah, his disciples didn't take Jesus as their soulmate.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons why Jesus did, why his mission didn't succeed. This is how powerful this is, this soulmate mechanism, and taking him, or it could be Swami or Baba. I'm sure there's no problem if you go to Swami or to any one of them and do that thing. Admit it. Admit everything.
Everything.
And don't
Everything.
hold it. And especially if you go to Jesus, he just has this special power to forgive instantly, to wash the karma instantly. It's just an extra boost, an extra gift that Jesus can offer. So
Although Swami at this point and Baba, they're
all the same.
they're all one with
Yeah.
him,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And
Doesn't really matter.
because Jesus came, right? Now they were able to they now merge with him. So if your heart is more open to Swami or your heart is more open to Baba, whoever it is, like ultimately they're all there, right? They're all one at this point. But because Jesus came, but because Jesus was here, right, and opened that door, they did this basically. They opened their heart completely to him, right? And I think one last thing that I'd like to say before we go into the meditation
Mhm.
or open it up one more time is as important as it is for us to open our heart to him, it is, in my understanding, equally important to see him in everyone. In other words, when we learn to open our heart to him and we feel that love from him and we feel that light reflecting from him, to then learn to see that that light and that love is equally inside of every single human being, and to love that and to love him through others. That's loving others as ourself, because that's our true self, that light and that love. It's not just about our personal process with Jesus, right? It's about learning to recognize that and loving that, and then loving that in others all the time. and seen through the illusion of the personality, seen through the illusion of the appearance, right? Seeing, letting go of all of our judgments. And this is my understanding of what Sri Kaleshwar did, which is why for many of us who were in his presence, that's why we always felt elevated in the presence of a saint, because he was constantly seeing the divinity and the love, the same reflection that Jesus reflected. He was able to see that in us all the time, no matter who we were and no matter what we did. And we have the ability to do the same thing. We have the potential to do the same thing, to love others in that way and elevate them. When we do that, that soul shines brighter. That light shines brighter. When we recognize that, it's like a child, right? When you see a child and they feel your love, they just blossom. And that's what happens to other people when you see that light and you see that love in others. They blossom. And then we are constantly living in the presence of the divine. Through others, every single human being becomes a gateway for Jesus, for Mary, for the Father, for the Mother. And we're constantly surrounded by the divine and by God. And I don't know about everybody else, but that's why I wanted to go in a spiritual direction. I wanted to live in that way, to live in that state of union and to live in that love. And then automatically miracles start flowing, right? When the love is flowing and we see the divine in others, automatically, right? Miraculous things happen. And we're in that state and we connect. If a client comes and we put our hands on them or we give them Shaktipat and we are loving that divinity and we are open to the presence of God in them and our heart is open, then the flow of God, the flow of power, the flow of love that will happen in that moment, that is the healing. That is the true healing. That is the highest potential. So on that note, before we go into meditation, we have a meditation on the birth of Jesus because we're going into Christmas. Should we open it up one more time or should we go
Yeah,
straight
if
into
there's
that?
any
Any
comments
other
or any-
comments, anything else before we go into this meditation? And we understand we're coming up on the half hour, so if you need to go, it's totally understandable. But the meditation will be recorded, so you can join later. But anything that anybody would like to share.